Today we are going to talk about the second P of 4 Ps, that is price. We've already done product. Price also we have done in brief when we talked about the functions of marketing, when we talked about the 4 Ps, in brief marketing mix when we talked about. Now we are going to talk about the factors affecting price. First, definition of price. What is price? Like I've already told you, price is sacrifice for the buyer and revenue for the seller. It is regulator of demand. It gives competitive edge, and also it's the only factor which affects the revenues of the firm. So let's go to the definition of the price. Price says price may be defined as the amount of money paid by buyer or received by seller in consideration. Consideration means mutual give and take. So if a buyer will buy a product and a seller will sell the product and buyer will pay the money and receive the product, that is a consideration for it. So in consideration of the purchase of product or service, whatever is being provided to you. Next we go on to is factors affecting price. Now, the first factor affecting price is product cost, second is utility and demand, third is extent of competition, fourth is pricing objective, and fifth is government and legal regulation. Starting with the product cost. See, every product comes with costs, and when we talk about cost, we are talking about the total cost. What is the total cost? It constitutes of fixed cost, variable cost, semi-variable cost. Fixed cost is a cost which actually does not vary with the level of the activity of firm. Like for example, production. When we talk about, that is volume of production. When we talk about variable cost, it varies in direct proportion with the level of the activity of the firm. And when we talk about semi-variable cost, we are talking about the factor that the level of activity of the firm does not get affected directly, not in the direct proportion. How? I'll explain it to you. Now, when we talk about the total cost, that is fixed cost, variable cost, semi-variable cost, a firm has to cover all the three costs. What happens is when a firm launches its product and the product is new in the market, usually it happens is that the firm is not able to cover the cost. It happens many times. So they may not immediately cover the cost, but in long run they have to cover the cost so that they earn enough profit margin to sustain in the market. So for that purpose, product cost is very essential. Let's read through. One of the most important factor affecting price of a good. Now, I've forgotten to write out here price of a good or service is its cost. This includes the cost of producing, distributing and selling the product. So we include all the things all together. The cost sets the minimum level or the floor price at which the product may be sold. There are three types of cost. First is fixed cost, like I told you, variable cost, semi-variable cost. Fixed cost does not vary with the level of activity of firm, for example, rent of building. Variable cost, which varies in direct proportion with the level of activity of firm, that is the cost of labor. Next, semi-variable cost, it does vary but not in the direct proportion. Like for example, there is a salesperson and he gets salary and he gets commission. Now with the total package of his salary may increase because of increased sales, but otherwise not in the same proportion as it is supposed to. So all firms strive to cover the cost in long run, try to earn profit over and above the cost. Sometimes at the time of launching new product, firm may set low price and may not be able to cover cost, but in long run it's very important and necessary. So this is about product cost. Next we talk about utility and demand. I think you've already done elastic and inelastic demand in your economics. The same fundamental goes out here. While the product cost sets the lower limit of price, the utility provided by the product and the intensity of demand of buyer sets the upper limit of price which a buyer would be prepared to pay. So when you talk about the lower limit and when you talk about the upper limit, it is set by the buying capacity of the customer, right? According to law of demand, consumers usually purchase more units when the prices are low. At low price than at high price. Of course, yes, we all know it. When things are less, we usually tend to buy more. Prices are less. When the demand of a product is inelastic, a rise in price does not affect the quantity demanded. So if the product is essential for you to buy, demand is inelastic, you will buy at whatever price it is, right? So quantity demanded by the buyers, a firm can fix higher price. So firm can fix whatever price it wants to. But when the demand is elastic, you have substitutes. A small rise in price results in decrease in quantity demanded by a large amount. Therefore, lower price should be fixed. That is utility and demand. You've already done this in economics. I think you know the law of demand very clearly. Next we go on to is extent of competition. Alright, as promised, we're talking about extent of competition while setting the lower and upper limit. So we have to keep the nature and degree of competition in mind. Between the lower limit and upper limit where prices settle down, it is affected by the nature and degree of competition. Why? Because price will tend to reach the upper limit in case there is lesser degree of competition. You don't have much competition, you fix your own price. While under condition of free competition, price will tend to be set at lower level. Why? Because you're competing with many people. In case there is a foreign company, you're competing with that, you're going to raise your standards and keep the prices in such a manner that you're able to compete with them. So competitors' prices and their anticipated reaction. So the price of the competitor who's come there, you have to keep them in mind, their reactions in mind. It has to be considered before fixing price. Like I very clearly say that whenever your competitors are there and they set a lower price and your prices are higher, their quality product is better or the quality of the product is same, they will tend to take away your customer. So do not let that condition happen. Do not let that happen in any condition. Why? Because you have to sustain your old customers, get new and keep growing. Alright, not only the price but the quality and the features of competitive products must be examined carefully before fixing the price. Like I told you, if their quality is better than yours, then you need to go to that level and compete with them so that your prices are fixed accordingly and you don't have a tough competition. So that's about extent of competition. Next we talk about is pricing objectives. When we talk about pricing objectives, we take three things into consideration majorly. First is obtaining market share leadership. Second is about surviving in a competitive market. Next is attaining product quality leadership. And this is given as an introduction in the pricing objectives. I have taken it as a separate point, profit consideration. So let's start with the first thing, obtaining market share leadership. Now, you want a larger share or smaller share? If you want a larger share, prices will be lower because you want to attract more customers. Small share, prices will be higher. Lesser people will buy it. As it is, lesser people will buy it. So, whatever price you set, people are going to buy. Next, surviving in a competitive market. Again, if there's intense competition and you want to introduce, there is an introduction of an efficient substitute, or you're trying to give a campaign, running a promotion campaign to clear off your stock. In that case, prices will be set down at discounted rates. So it will be lower. And in case there is less competition, prices would be high because you can set your own price. Now, attaining product quality leadership, when we talk about attaining product quality leadership, when we talk about high quality and more money spent on R&D. Where will you cover the cost from? Of course, from the customers. So you're going to set your prices high because you are the people who have done research and development and you have spent money on it. Like for example, whenever a vaccine is it's introduced by any of the company, they usually set a very high price. At one time, insulin was very expensive. Why? Because the company had spent a lot of money on R&D, research and development, and they had set a higher price. Comparatively, when a lot of competitor came into the market with the insulin, that is for diabetic people, what happened? The price of the insulin reduced. So why? Because now there was a lot of competition also, and they had recovered the cost of R&D in the initial years. So they fixed a high price. But when the quality is average or normal quality, low prices can be set or normal prices can be set so that you come in at par with the competitors. Next, when we talk about next one is the profit consideration. Now, how do you want to earn your profit? In short run or in long run? So if you want to earn immediate quick profit, what are you going to do? You're going to charge high. But if you want to earn profit in the long run, lower price limit will be set up. So short-run profit maximization, higher price can be set, and long-run profit maximization, lower price can be easily set. Next, we are going to talk about is government and legal regulation. The last point in factors affecting price is government and legal regulation. Now, when we talk about government and legal regulation, what are we highlighting at? See, if a company spends a lot of money on R&D and they regulate, they price a commodity at a very high price. Now their manufacturing cost is very less. and they're selling it at a very high price in the market, people will buy it because they need that particular product. And if government just takes a check and regulates things and ensures that this required product it becomes an essential commodity, then the prices can be fixed at lower level. Why so? Because the product has been termed as essential commodity. If you talk about a strip of medicine like crocin, people need crocin for fever every time, right? The price can be set higher by the companies, but in order to make it available to all the people in the country, the government has made it an essential commodity and set a lower price, that kind of a drug. So there are around 7 things in India which come under Essential Commodities Act of 1955, and later on in 2019 it was amended. But whatever it was done, what is the setting of price? We'll just know. In order to protect the interest of public against unfair practices in context of price fixing, government can intervene and regulate the price of commodities. Government can declare a commodity as essential commodity and regulate its prices. The cost, for example, the cost of medicine manufactured by a company having monopoly in its production comes to 20 per strip of 10, and buyer is ready to pay any amount, say rupees 200. The seller may be lured to charge 200. In that case, what happens? In such case, the government does not allow the firms to charge such high price and intervene to regulate the price of medicine, like I gave you of crocin right now. This can be done by declaring the medicine as essential commodity, by regulating price. Why? Because everybody needs that kind of medicine to get well. So all the people, all the public, the complete public of India needs, people need. So that is why the prices can be regulated in such a manner. You have your food stuff like sugar, that also comes under essential commodities, that has been regulated by the government. So there are many things. I told you 7 headings are there under which government has regulated the price under essential commodities. So that's about price and the factors affecting price. Next we'll be talking about is place. Till then, bye bye.